What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? We are here for the season finale of Tamar, Get Your Life. So, let me say this. Only a few things to really talk about. Because to be perfectly honest with you, I felt like 80% of this episode was a commercial for us to watch Braxton Family Values. Okay? So, we start off, we see Tamar, David having dinner. And the goal of that conversation, I feel like, was for them to talk about what happened with Goldie. And Tamar has made a total 360 on the whole Goldie situation. Now, when she was talking to Goldie, she was apologetic. David, I had to take responsibility. I allowed David to, question you and, what's going on between me and you was between me and you. And I know that what you're doing ain't of the devil. And I understand what we're doing here. And I know it's helping me. And so I shouldn't have allowed David to get in the middle and to question. And I apologize that he even talked to you that way. And I apologize. Now, after this confrontation, she's talking to David like, I mean, if Goldie really believed in what she was doing, she should have been able to explain it to you in a way that made sense. I mean, it's her fault that she couldn't explain what she was doing so that you would be satisfied. So, I mean, that's on her. I mean, ain't nobody fire her. Ain't nobody ask her to leave. She made a decision to leave. And I was like, see, Tamar, that's the shit that people be talking about. Then David was talking about how he prayed, and when his mama prayed, and all of them prayed, and he was like, and look at where Goldie is now. I said, he was like, prayer works. I said, so you prayed for her to be gone? Then later on in the episode, when she was talking to Mona, she was like, well, Goldie sort of put me in a bad situation because what you supposed to do, after she called somebody, an MF in their own house. No, that was your house. It wasn't his house. It was your house. It was your house. So she did not. And he started it with her. So, you know what? So anyway, that was that conversation. And then she went to Tracy's bachelorette party, which we're going to see on Braxton Family Values. And when she came back, she was in a total mood and she was sort of shut down. And the producer was saying that he feels like whatever happened when they were in Atlanta, something must have went down at the bachelorette party, and Tamar is just in a funky mood, and she is sort of just over between that and the Goldie situation. She's sort of over the whole thing. We see her going out to lunch with James, Wright, her friend James Wright, the Patty Pie guy, and he was trying to get her to open up about what happened at the bachelorette party, and she just really wouldn't talk too much about it. And I feel like I feel like that was a way for them to keep us on edge so we would want to go watch Braxton Family Values. Like, I feel like that's what that was all about. Not on purpose, I don't know, but that's just how I felt. I felt like it was edited that way so that we'd be like, oh, well, what happened at the bachelorette party that got Tamar so upset? Like, then she's supposed to come in for some interviews. She cancels hair and makeup. She shows up with no makeup on, with her hair slicked back, with a hat on. She gets there at 6:48 and tells them that she has to leave at 7. So I guess they talked to her for 10, 12 minutes. And at 7:01, she looked at her watch and said, well, it's 7:01. I got to go. And she left. Now, she was hoarse. And I don't want to read too much into it, but y'all tell me what y'all saw. I saw it look like she was crying. She had been crying. That's what it looked like to me. She was hoarse, like maybe she had been yelling. And she looked like she had been crying. But I could be wrong. So, that sort of ended that. So, they reached out to Mona because they was like, listen, we trying to salvage what we can salvage because she not meeting with Goldie anymore. She won't interview. Our footage is limited because, see, now she's splitting her filming time because Braxton Family Values has started filming again. And so she's splitting her time, which is another thing that is pulling at her. And she already knows what this gives. And so Mona calls her in, and one of the things, Tamar wanted to see footage. And Mona was basically like, listen, well, no, Mona went and talked to David. And once again, I feel like this was another advertisement for go watch Braxton Family Values. Because now we're finding out that at the wedding, there was a whole confrontation between Tamar and Tracy. And to hear David's side of the story, Tracy assaulted Tamar for no reason at all. That Tracy was just already upset. And Tamar came into where Tracy was. And David said, well, why don't y'all talk? Maybe this is a good time for y'all to have a conversation. Mind you, you said this was in the middle of the wedding and that Tamar needed to just change her shoes. What made you think this was a good time for her and Tracy to have a conversation, which clearly was going to be a deep conversation? Like, what made you think that was a good time for the conversation to happen? I don't know. But, but she did. And then that, whatever Tracy was upset about, I don't know if Tracy was upset over something Tamar did or Tracy was just upset. But to hear David tell the story, Tracy was shaking. She was so angry. And she ended up grabbing Tamar's head and pulling it, just a bunch. So I'm like, so now we got to watch Braxton Family Values so we can find out what happened at the wedding. And so then David started talking about, I guess, Tamar's expectation versus what really was happening. And Mona was like, listen, but let me be clear. That's what she signed up for. And she's been doing this and she knows what the expectation is. Like, Tamar know what this is. Tamar know what this situation is, what this whole situation gives. Tamar is no stranger to this. So then that's when she met with Mona. And Mona basically was like, girl, we got to finish this up. Like, this is not what we said we wanted to do. This isn't where we started. This isn't what we said we agreed to at the beginning. And I need to know what we need to do to get you back on track so we can basically she was like, we need to salvage this shit. Because this ain't what we have. It's nothing. Which it really ain't. Then she brought up the fact that I think the agreement was that her and Tracy would have a sit down. And her thing was Tracy ain't ready. She said Tracy is not ready. So then they played her the footage of when David met with Kevin when they were in DC. And Tamar, but I'm gonna say this, and I said this on that episode. Tracy is gonna have to figure out a way to deal with her own demons. It is no longer their issue. It has been talked about. They have apologized to you. They have acknowledged your hurt. I really don't know what else you want from your sisters because they can't erase the clock. They can't go back and redo it. They can't change it. And I'll be honest with you, even if they could, they probably would make the same decision. They were young and they were ambitious and they made a hard decision. And Tamar said, I was still in high school. So what was I like? What was I supposed to do? I was a high school student living in my parents' house, and the record company gave us a decision that as a group we made. And I'm the youngest one in the room. So I'm the one that's at fault. I'm supposed to be the one to help you absolve your issues. Now, the reality is, Tracy's issue with Tamar goes deeper than that record deal situation. But the fact that that keeps coming up, like at a certain point, Tracy, you gotta let that go. You just do. Or it's going to keep eating you up and you are not going to, I don't know what else. Like, that happened 30 years ago, boo. And I get it that it was hurtful and it was a lot. But, anyway. Tamar said she felt like the show was just not about her. That everything was about everybody else and their issues. Not about her doing what it is that she was trying to do. And to a certain extent, I agree. But part of that is on you. The goalie situation, the David situation was certainly a distraction. You wanting, the show, not you, the show wanting to bring in the confrontation between you and Tracy. The situation between David and Vince. Like, all of those were situations that, for the exception of the Tracy situation, you brought to the show. And then they let her look at the footage. Well, I think that was just the cherry. That was the icing on the cake. Because once she saw herself played back, some people just can't look at the mirror and like the reflection that they see. And that's really what that was. You in that moment, Tamar looked at the reflection and she didn't like what she saw. And it became, once again, everybody else's problem but her. Then it was, we TV betrayed me. You betrayed me. I trusted you, and you betrayed my trust. She finally came in for her final interview, which her lawyer basically had to tell her, girl, like, if you don't go do this interview, they about to hold you in contempt. Like, I mean contempt. I don't mean contempt, but y'all know what I'm saying. Like, they basically told her, girl, if you don't get in there and do that damn interview, if you don't, girl. And so she did. Now, is it me? Y'all tell me. In that final interview, did it look like Tamar? Like, I don't know how much time had passed, but look at Tamar's face. Did it not look a lot more like thinner? I don't know if it was makeup. You know, makeup and wigs can change things. But Tamar's face had been so round. And in that final interview, it looked like she had lost some weight. It looked like in her face, she had definitely lost some weight in her face. Y'all tell me again, if I'm reading too much into what I'm saying, y'all tell me. But this is what I'm saying. I'm just giving y'all my raw reaction because I ain't got a whole lot left. Okay? And it looked like, and she was so disconnected. She really, really felt like the show was going to make her look bad and that they had betrayed her. Like, she really, really felt that way. Child. And that was it. They said that was the last time they had contact with Tamar and that she was filming Braxton Family Values. So that's why I say I just feel like I feel like a lot of this was, come on over to Braxton Family Values if you want more of this, because I don't know, y'all. Y'all tell me what y'all think. I'm done. It's a wrap. Peace.